let's grab a couple now that are relatively quick, that I'm not going to do a whole lot on because they've been shot really, really well. So I'm going to grab these two of Clee. Open both of them up. They both look pretty much the same. This one's got a little bit more yellow in it than this one here. So looking at her face, yeah, so this one's a little bit warmer than this one, which is obviously just something I should have hit in edit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little quick filter just to cool it down just a little bit. Yeah, that didn't quite have the effect I wanted, so let's go full on cool it down. All right, so colors are the same. So greenery colors are the same now, but her skin tones and stuff are vastly different because we've cooled it down quite a lot. So guys, although this is quick, like this is what I want you to look for. Like these are the little details that make all the difference. Especially with skin tones, you've got to get skin tones right. And while the outside of the frame looks good, her skin tones look cold in comparison to this one. So let's, I've done a cool it down sort of action that I've got. I'm going to get my black brush, 50% opacity, and I'm going to basically just rub out the cooling action on her skin. But I need to make that normal. And so as you can see, it's bringing back the warmth on her skin. Cool. So if we look now between the two of them, skin tones are very similar and the frame as a whole looks very similar. So cool, I'm good with that. Now, yes, that should have been something that I went a bit closer and got right in RAW, but it was relatively easily fixed here. So what I'm going to do with both of these is just the retouch for me. So I'm going to go the 5 that I normally do: heal, mattify, dodge, and burn, skin tone, portrait volumes. I've noticed with the skin tone one, it does tend to take a lot of color out. So quite often I'll run it, but I'll either paint stuff back in or I'll just turn it off altogether. So let's run this. All right, cool. So we've done that photo. I'm going to do exactly the same to this one, run it again. So our skin tone's taken a little bit out, which I'm not a massive fan of because I want to see a little bit of that color and stuff in her skin. So I'm going to add and adjust, add a layer mask, black brush, 50%, and I'm just going to bring a bit of that skin tone back in, and a bit there as well, and a bit here as well. Cool, that's pretty much all I need to do to that. Check skin tone on this one. Yep, so I might just put a little bit back. There we go, a little bit down here. All right, so I'm not even going to bother going more softening on her face because they don't need it, and she's beautiful and she just doesn't need anything really like that. So I'm going to flatten both of those. So I'm going to do the same to each one now for these. So I'm going to run my image pop action on both, and you'll see what that does. All right. So it's darkened them back quite a bit and added a fair bit more contrast to them. So if I show you, that's before, that's after. So see how on her face, like if when I add that, it's a bit too much and there's a lot of white and stuff on her face. Don't really want to kind of add that too much. So what I'm going to do, I just want a little bit of contrast in it. So I'm just going to go to about 30% with that, flatten it, same with this one, 30% looks pretty good, flatten, cool. So now they're both looking the same. So the next thing we need to do is you need to look over the frame and fix anything that's a distraction or fix anything that is quite visibly wrong. Now, you might look at this and go, okay, cool, nothing's wrong. But if you look a bit closer, if we go to here, her hand there is really bright and her arm here is really bright. So what we want to do is fix both of those, because that's going to be the brightest part of the frame, but you want her face to be the brightest part of the frame. Now, these, normally it's a relatively easy kind of fix. I'm not going to go too crazy with it. So I'm just going to get my brush. I'm going to go to darken because we want to darken the area. I'm going to keep it at about 20% because we can always paint it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm going to add a layer mask, so therefore if I go too far, if something happens, we can get rid of it. All right, so select the image, go to darken, white brush, and then I'm going to find a part that is about the color that I want. So we're going to go up to there. We're going to grab this little bit of color. So as you can see, that's it there. It's probably going to be a little bit dark, so I might just go to here. All right, and then I'm just going to paint that in. You lose a little bit of detail when you kind of do this, but if you look at it kind of before and after, like it looks a bit better. And I'm going to do the same down here. The key is just to not go crazy with this. All right. So we've lost a little bit of texture there, but I'm not too concerned because like it's just a nice sort of portrait shot of her. So I'm good with that. So I'm going to flatten that one. There's nothing else really that sticks out here in the frame. So I'm going to look at the next one. Kind of not really anything that sticks out here either. I might just darken her shoulder a little bit. I'm not going to bother making a layer because there's kind of not enough. I might just darken her forehead and the bridge of her nose a little bit. But that's really it. Now, if you see this one, focus is perfect. Like we've focused on the eye. I'm not sure who took this, but great job. Like you've got it focused dead set on her eye, which is amazing. This one here, I don't know where we've focused because it's not on her eye, and whether there was movement or what's happened, I'm not sure. But we've just lost it a little bit in that one. But you know, this one's cool. So pretty much all I'm going to do now is I've got a signature soften action from one of my friends, Marcus Bell. So I'm going to play that on both. And what that does is it just darkens things down a little bit and softens the foreground and softens the whole frame really, but you've got to go through and rub it out afterwards. So I'm going to do the same to both. As you can see, it does affect skin tones and stuff as well. Like a preset, it affects everything. So we need to make sure that you're doing it properly. But again, it's done, the action's done properly because it gives you a layer, mask to work with. So we're going to go to 100% with a black brush to remove this soften effect from her face. So if we go to here, you can see it looks quite soft. And then when I rub it out, the skin tones come back. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just rub out kind of the skin there. So we're at 100%, so I'm just going brutal straight up. And that brings us back. So essentially I'm kind of just rubbing her out basically of that frame. So cool, I'm happy with that. Same with this one, just going to rub all of it out because it does add contrast and you do lose detail. So I kind of don't want to lose detail. Get that done for both. Cool. All right. Done. So there's not really much more I want to do to the whole kind of frame. I'm just going to have a little bit of an experiment here because I've got an action that I've written which brightens things and gives it a little slight sort of purpley kind of tinge a little bit, which I just want to see what that looks like. Cool, I like that. It's brightened it up a little bit. So and it has brought skin tones back to a more manageable kind of color as well. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do the same thing to this one. Cool, nice and bright. Love those. Love that look. That's cool. I'm gonna flatten both of those. So now, like, these are a bit distracting. You know, the leaves in the foreground and stuff, and we kind of want them to be a bit darker because you want her face to be the focus point. So what I've got here is a random vignette action that I've created. So all I do is select an area around her, and the action inverts it, feathers it, and then gives me a layer to darken things back. So you don't have to be too crazy with regard to the area selected. So you can, if you make the area sort of jagged and stuff, it works better because it's more realistic. So if we play this action, you'll see what happens. Boom. So then it darkens everything back at the front, but we've still got her, and it also gives me a layer. So there we go. Layer on and off. So I really like that because now you can tell you're looking through something, but she's still the focus point. So I'm going to do the same with this one as well. And it's okay to go over her a little bit with this because it's not going to darken her too much. It's not going to affect the skin tone. So love both of those. I'm going to flatten both of those. They look nice. Cool. So now pretty much all I want to do is kind of brighten her eyes a little bit because her eyes are a little bit dark. Not so much in this one, but in this one, the eyes are the killer in this one because the way she's looking at you, yeah, wow. So I've got an action here called Pro Retouch. If you did buy the Eye Brilliance in the Retouch panel, it does this as well. Or you can just select the eyeball itself and brighten that. You can do it in Lightroom. There's a whole heap of other actions and stuff that will do it. I've even got the master set of actions from Rocco and Cora, and I think there is an eye, whiten eyes in here. So don't want to whiten them. I just want to kind of brighten the colored area up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Pro Retouch action that brightens eyes and softens skin. Don't want to soften the skin anymore because we don't need to do that. But I'm going to go to Eye Bump. I'm going to white brush, set it on 100%, and you'll see what it does here. If I go, oops, wrong button. Boom. So that eye bump just brightens the eye. But again, you've got to be careful with it that you don't get it on the skin, because if you get it on the skin, oops, if you do get it on the skin, it does that, which we don't want. And also, if eyes are too bright, then it can look a bit weird. So what I'm going to do is that working? Yeah, it is. So it's quite subtle. So I'm just going to brighten that one. And if you find, because there's something covering this eye, if you brighten it, it'll look a bit weird and it'll look like a different color. And when you zoom out, see how that looks crazy weird. So we don't want to do that. So we kind of want to leave this one as it is, because you can tell you're kind of shooting through a leaf or something here in the foreground. Her eyes still look a slightly different color, but we do have the option to darken it back a little bit, which I'm going to do. So I'm just going to go to about there. Cool. Happy with that. And then we're going to go to this one. Now our eyes are a lot sharper in this one, and there's nothing covering them, so they can both be the same. So we're going to go my Pro Retouch again. We're going to go eye bump, and I'm just going to paint this in because she had gorgeous eyes as well. Maybe I'm biased, but you know. All right, so paint that in. Now it's made one go a little bit grey, but they are a lot brighter. But see, they look a little bit too bright now. Like it looks not really real. So we need to come back from that. So what we do is just reduce the opacity all the way down to nothing, and just bring it up just until it's plausible and real. So I think that's about it there. It's about half, about 40%. I'm good with that. Flatten that. And she's still got skin texture here. There's nothing really we need to take away. I don't really want to do anything more with these because they look really nice. So I'm just going to wrap these up now. Save. Done. That's a beautiful shot. I really love that. I wish that her eye had been in focus. It just would have given that so much more. But what I am going to do with this one is just that I still want to darken her arm and her hand down a little bit, but I need to do it carefully because I don't want to affect skin tone too much. So I'm going to use my dodge and burn action, and I'm just going to darken that a touch with it and darken hand a touch with it. It's still a little bit bright, but what I can do is just go down a bit more, just go to my dodge side of it and just brighten her face a touch. Cool. So that's a classic example of whatever's closest to the light is going to be brighter. So obviously her hand there is closer to the light than what her eyes are, and it looks like the focus point here is on the hand as opposed to her eye. So just bear that in mind, guys. Make sure you're focusing on an eyeball. But you know, as a digital sort of image, this looks really nice. So that's as far as I'm going to go with these guys. Don't need to do any more. They look beautiful. The more you do to them, just the more it's going to detract. So that's it for those ones.